can clear some things up right away too. I can promise you that Heather and Will were better players than I was a coach. Because everybody up here, every coach knows the only way you win is you're going to win. And winning is important. You don't get to keep your keys for the next season. It's because of the players and all the people that help you. I told Louise, I said, what does it feel like to be married to a Hall of Famer? I said, we've been running around together now for like 47 years. What do you think about getting married now that I'm in the Hall of Fame? She said, who you gonna marry? And to be in this Hall of Fame with Ed Bridges and Randy White and Wilson Blair, and I can remember all the others too, is just a tremendous thrill for me. Matter of fact, Ed was one of the first coaches I met, and every school in this county had a great coach when I came here. It wasn't easy to beat people in the county. It was a whole lot easier to beat the big schools than there was any county school at that time. And Ed taught me how to beat a press. He said, just let your big guy take it out of bounds, throw it into him, and let him look over them little bitty guards and throw it down the floor. So that's how we learned. I enjoyed every minute of coaching. I can't think of any coach that I've ever coached against I disliked. Now, I can think of some officials that cost us a few. That might have been a problem. But it is a great thrill for me. Here's what we try to teach our players. And this is what Louise brought up to me when I was bragging to her. I said, I don't think them other Hall of Famers has got to get up and look on that refrigerator and see what kind of chores they got to do that day. She said, well, you always taught your players the fun is in the work. So I'm giving you a whole lot of work to do so you can have a whole lot more fun right now. But let me just say this. What are the chances of somebody that was born at a very young age, I guess we're all born, but someone who was born at a very young age in a log house 70 yards from where he lives right now, with all his brothers living there and Mom down the hill to tell us what to do and be straight. She's almost 94. So what are the chances of somebody born in a log house who spent 2 years in the first grade at Piney Chapel? But I found out recently one of my favorite coaches here in North Alabama, he spent 3 years in the and that's true too. So what I'm saying is you don't have to be as smart as all these other people that get into the Hall of Fame. You can be a regular old lucky person. I thought the reason to go to school was just to play ball. I had no intention of reading any of those textbooks. I read all the other books, but not any textbooks. So I thought the locker was just to take and put my books in and go home and play ball at 3 o'clock. So that was the only reason I thought you went to school. When I was going home from Piney Chapel, they'd say, basketball's flat. I just went home. I don't need to go to school that day. I just turned around and went home and fished with my grandmother. That's probably when I failed the first grade. And honestly tell you, I never took a book home in my life. I left them all in the locker room. That's why I had a 12 on the ACT. The schools I went to when I was growing up, when you went in, they didn't ask you what your grade point average was. They wanted to know what your batting average was. And what your shooting percentage was. So that's the kind of people I grew up with. We didn't care anything about the partition of Africa in 1850. Or ancient Roman Empire. What did that have to do with shooting basketball? I can still remember the first basketball I ever saw shot by Bobby Nichols in Rochester, Ohio. When I saw him shoot a jump shot, I thought that was the prettiest sight I'd ever seen. That's the sport I'm going to develop. Because it just looks like it's impossible to do. I can remember that just like it was today. I also remember his mom's pineapple cake that we ate after we played in that barn. He shot that jump shot. I never planned on being a coach, never planned on being a teacher. I just went to college, took a whole bunch of classes. When I got to my junior year, I said, I went to a counselor. So what can a guy like me do? He said, well, I'll tell you what you can do. You can teach history, psychology, you can teach economics, you can teach sociology, you can teach, but you got to go do student teaching this year then next year you can go out and learn how to teach. So that's how I got into all this. I got into coaching. I never took a coaching class in college, never took a PE class. I just went there to go. And I was lucky. The reason I got there, after I got out of the Army, I had an uncle that used to gamble with Al Capone's bunch. And he had made enough money that he told me, I'll send you to college if you quit smoking and quit drinking out here every night. You go off to college and go to a college, they won't let you do that. They're going to run you off the first day. So I put out my last carton of cigarettes in Eagleville, Missouri. And went there, and that's where I'll tell you about these later about meeting her. This is a guy that gave up a college scholarship to play basketball. Now, I don't know how they offered me a scholarship to play basketball and run track at Birmingham Southern and what was then Howard University with a 12 on the ACT. I don't think they took that into account back then either. So, but at least, instead of going on that scholarship, I take off and start hitchhiking to California with $10 in my pocket so I could watch the Olympic tryouts in 1960. I want to see all those great Olympic champions. Slept on Stanford Stadium at night. Probably not to pay any money. I thought a bunch of other people wanted to get in free too. And then I might get a motel room. But on the way back, I got hungry. And I didn't have a heart to call Mom and Dad and tell them I needed some money. So I just joined the Army. I was going to join the Marines, but it was closed. So I really just joined the Army to get something to eat. So I got home 3 years later from here. How does a guy like that wind up in the Hall of Fame? A guy who only had one date in high school. Only one. And that's because I drove an old 54 that somebody gave us. It didn't even have a gas pedal. It had a throttle. It only go 15 miles an hour. So I finally got enough nerve when I drove Sonny Bob's dad's Buick over this girl's house who I heard liked me, and asked her dad for the date. I'm looking really important at his dad's new Buick, but I couldn't use his new Buick when I go and picked her up for the date. I had to take my 54. It only go 15 miles an hour when I pulled out the throttle. And I ran in the back of the car in front of me at the drive-in. So therefore, I never got another date. I mean, I just played ball after that. What kind of coach would even be standing here alive, just living, if he told Phillip Rivers and Maurice Franklin, one of them 6'6", and Phillip's not quarterback in the football league, go to San Diego. Telling them one night they was pushing each other. In fact, they had them guarding each other, and they were getting a little bit rough. I said, I tell you what, boys, y'all, I want you to go ahead and get in a fight right now. Which we never ever had. Now, my whole coaching career had players fight. So go ahead and get in a fight right now, and you got to go 20 minutes in the center circle. You know, you got to go solid 20 minutes, and then I'll take on the winner. Either way, you both are going to lose. And I'm not so sure of that now. They both kind of whipped me good. That's kind of, but we had great players. I mean, when I think back, I was going to write down everybody had an influence on me. When I got to the 19th page, and nothing but names, I thought, well, I better. And they told me I had 5 minutes. Heck, it took me 10 minutes to put this stuff together. 5 people helped me. And my granddaughter said, I'll write your speech for you, Grandpa, my oldest granddaughter. And I said, okay. She gets up this morning. She says, here's what you got to say. Start off like this. I'd like to welcome all you fine folks. She's 5 years old. To this Hall of Fame banquet. My 2 favorite granddaughters could not be here tonight. But they send their regards to you. So now, I got a bunch of family. Raise your hand if you're associated with me at all and not ashamed of it. That's the way we introduce our Dawson band. We never introduce individuals. If everybody's going to play tonight, raise your hand. Which radio talent scouts out there? It's going to steal them from us. And to be honest, it's just like coaching. It's just like coaching. you surround yourself with them good Dawson players, and they put you in the center of it with an old hat on, and you look like you're really important, and you're the worst player in the group. You know, it makes you feel big. The key to it all is who you surround yourself with, the players. And that's the way it was when I coached. I never thought anybody out-coached me, or I know I didn't out-coach anybody else, but we didn't have any. Our favorite rule at the end of the game was, just don't do any more coaching. Let them not coach themselves, and we'll just stay here and go on home, win or lose. So that was our strategy. But the players were the key. I mean, no doubt about it. And now we're going to get to how did this miracle happen? So I'm standing up here. If I go over 5 minutes that I'm standing up here as a Hall of Famer, you know, as a Hall of Famer. Now they say pride comes before the fall. Somebody better go call 911 right now. I'm getting ready to pass out from pride. My Sunday school teacher back there, I tried not to tell any lies, might have stressed a few things, but him back there, you know, and Miss Belcher back there used to go and watch her husband coach, and Coach Merle, and all these coaches, all these people meant so much. Now we get down to how it happened. Well, you got to start off with who created the universe. And if y'all realize in the last 2 hours that we've been 2,000 miles in a circle on a big ball in space, while we've gone over 200,000 miles around the sun on this great vacation we get every year, with all these fine folks that sit here tonight, I bet none of you realize how far we've gone in the last 2 hours. That's important. You got to be thankful for that. I don't know why I think like that. Nobody's done anything. But I also want to thank my ancestors. All the way back to the beginning of time. Because you know, without any one of them, I wouldn't be here. And if all of yours weren't there either, you wouldn't be here either. So I don't believe in ancestor worship, but I'd sure like to shake their hand when I run into them someday. Hopefully if I get there. And if they do, that'd be different. But let me just start down with just 3 things I got to shut up. Number one reason why I've amounted to anything besides what I just said is Louise. And everybody knows that I wouldn't amount to nothing. I've still been stacking steel behind the number 3 shear in Birmingham. If it hadn't been for Louise. Encouraged me along the way, and we brought our family down here and run this nice community. I never heard her complain once, not one time, about coaching. Well, I guess I did hear her one time when she was up there in the crowd booing with everybody else. When we were holding the ball against Austin, and we happened to win by 1, and everybody that was booing stood up and cheered, including her. So I guess now, I had all these great coaches that helped me too. Administrators, coaches. I look back there at Randy. How do you think I could be a bad coach, Randy White, in the gym? You know, when I looked down there and see Heather play, I just realized tonight I must be shrinking because I used to think I was taller than Heather. She's taller than me. I want to thank the cooks, the custodians, the secretaries. I mean, I'm going down the list. These are the people that made me what I am. Because they'd tell me what to get Louise for anniversaries. I tried to tell them I got her 2 quarts of oil for her push mower. They wouldn't accept that, so they couldn't let it play. But I like it. And my family, my current family, my kids, my grandkids, my Janet Latham back there, and see her smile. She'd always encourage it. But everybody encouraged this poor boy. You know, I mean, I always felt like I belonged here. Even though some of them say, he's just an old Yankee down in Iowa. If they ever lived in Iowa and went through those winters up there, they'd be down here too. I want to thank my managers. I had the best managers in the world. You could have done that. And all the parents that supported me, you know, and I knew right off when you get into coaching, if you're not playing somebody, their parents don't think you're the greatest guy since apple butter. You know, they're worried about whether you're smart enough to coach or not. And even if he is playing, and he's not a star, and he's not going to go in the NBA, you're still letting them down. So I learned that before I ever started coaching. Just let it roll off your back, kid, and just keep it in the best you can do. The biggest thing Like I said, all my assistant coach, Coach Hennis was here with me all the time. Coach Oakley handled our middle school program. All of them good people, great coaches in Limestone County. Players are great. Now, here's the two slogans we had on the wall that we try to live by, other than saddle your own horse. We had that up there. Managers aren't here to pick up your stuff laying on the floor. They're just as important as coaches. So you saddle your own horse, you pick up your own trash, and we'll get along real good. And I just tell them, only rule I got, while you're here, they only have one, just one. You behave right or I'll handle it any way I want to. We didn't have any more trouble after that. Not any, didn't have to worry about it. But here was what was on the thing. Strength of the effort is the measure of the result. They used to see us every day. It wasn't whether we won or lost, but whether we played hard. We'd tell them afterwards, boys, we won, but we didn't. We need to go out and give everybody their money back. They paid that hard working money to come watch y'all play tonight, and we didn't have a maximum effort. So you need to take up a collection and go give them their money back and send them back home when they go back to work. And because of all the efforts of all the people, all the fans, everybody's helped me along the way. The reason I'm here really is to honor all of those that I mentioned before, and all those that are going to come after us, and all those that are here tonight. And I kept a little old thing, I know I haven't got it. Maybe I do. I kept this in my billfold. Players heard this about every year, about every camp. And I really believe this. Let what we do now and in the future to honor those who came before us and serve as an example for those who follow. And for me, y'all have made up me and my family the most welcome, luckiest group that's ever been on the face of earth. I tell everybody, the good Lord don't owe me any more blessings. He done gave me all I've got right here, and there's plenty for me. He doesn't owe me anything else. And I really believe that with all my heart. Thank y'all for coming.